Spring is really starting to show its hand now, and there's finally a bit to harvest. The first signs that all that early work is beginning to pay off. Welcome to PDX Garden Home, where I garden in the maritime climate of the Pacific Northwest. Today, we'll gather what's ready: bok choy that's been quietly doing its thing, and some spring onions that are just about where we want them. We'll also check in on the retaining wall, which has been a project in the making for a while now, and take a look at the dry well that I've been putting in behind it for drainage. That's an important feature when you're building a garden wall in rainy Portland. Then it's some watering and a bit of feed for seedlings that have been patiently waiting under lights. So come along and let's garden. Well, along this stretch I have some beautiful bok choy. They could go a little bit longer maybe, but they are looking good, and my wife is making short ribs tonight. And so I'm gonna harvest some bok choy that will go along with the short ribs, and we're gonna have a nice dinner. We'll have some guests over and we're gonna serve short ribs and bok choy. Hello. Today I have an unusual harvest. I've got these red bulb onions that were planted a year ago, and now they are still here. They had sprouted their green shoots, which are looking vibrant, but also they've got these elongated red tips to them sticking out of in the ground. Kind of looks like a spring onion, so I'm going to harvest them as a spring onion. I did a little research, and my understanding is that onions are a biennial and they're really getting ready to seed, and that the tips are supposed to be woody and just really not good, but you could eat the greens. But I actually pulled one out of the ground, and what I found was that the tip was actually not too woody, and it was kind of sweet. It wasn't a bulb, it was like what you might get with spring onion. The tip was kind of actually sweet. The tip was sweeter, the red tip was sweeter than the greens actually. The greens were very strong comparatively. So in any case, I'm gonna go ahead and harvest these now like they're as if they were a spring onion. I mean, they literally are onions I'm harvesting in the spring, but typically spring onions are, I think, new kinds of bulbish onions that you just harvest early in the spring. So anyway, let's do it and we'll see how they come out in the basket.
How crazy that would be, yet here I am, falling in love again. never stop believing that one day, when time is right and stars align, our views would coincide. We'll see the world in color, though they say that love is blind. How stupid that would be. Indeed, that's true. And still I'm waiting for you. I am forever waiting for you.
Well, it's not the way I wanted to spend an hour of a beautiful spring day here with it nice and sunny in Portland, Oregon. But I am putting this sock on this drainage pipe. And yeah, it's taking a little while for me to do it. Maybe the pros would know how to do it very quickly. But I mean, this is almost 48 feet long, this stretch here. And so I had to connect the pipes up, and then I put the sock over it, which is designed to keep the dirt, to keep too many large particles of dirt and rocks and things from stuffing up the perforated holes in the pipe, which are there to collect the water from behind the retaining wall. This right now pipe is sitting in front of the retaining wall so that I can easily see it while I do this, but it'll then be put over behind the wall, and all of that will be designed to flow the water to the well that I dug over here. Just a dry well, unless it rains, and then it'll no longer be a dry well. But I dug a hole, and then I dumped a bunch of large river rock and large rock gravel into that hole. And what I'll do is I'll open up a hole in the pipe there so that all of the drainage comes down through there. So you can see kind of that's what the pipe looks like without the sock on it. And I got a little more stretch to finish the sock, and then that part of the project will be done, at least for this second tier. I'm going to have a third tier retaining wall after this. So yeah, this project is going to carry on for a little while. I keep speculating for how long, but it's apparent it's going to be longer than I would like.
Mug on the step, steam curling, boots in the mud, breath-making clouds in the morning, row after row, seeds like secrets in my pocket, push them down slow, whisper a hope in each socket. Hands in the dirt, dreams under fingernails, sweat on my shirt, love in the details. Someday this patch of ground will feed more than just me. I'm growing a garden big enough for family. Kids in the doorway laughing, wind starts to hum. We keep on weeding and grafting, save all the jars, line them up like little sunsets, planning so far for the plates we haven't set yet. Hands in the dirt, dreams under fingernails, sweat on my shirt, love in the details. Someday this patch of ground will feed more than just me.
Well, I've got seedlings to water again, so back to that activity. I don't think I have as many to water today, so I'm going to do some watering, some reviewing of the seedlings, and some fertilizing. And we're starting here with the marigolds. These are the Cracker Jack marigolds here, and then I've got some large white marigolds. I forget the exact name of the white marigolds, but what I remember about them is that they'll grow about the same size as these Cracker Jack marigolds. They'll just be white. And I grew them last year and loved them. So I'm gonna water these and then give them a little bit of a feed. These are still a little bit moist. They're not, get it on the shower there. So they're not dying of not having water, but they're starting to get a couple of these cell areas over here we're starting to get dry. And here is the flax. I don't have great germination going on here, but I got something to play with. Okay, now this tray actually stuff that should just go out. I've got some calendula here, some bok choy, some bunching onions, some red leaf lettuce, and then the Bib lettuce, I think that it keeps kind of getting leggy and going crazy on me. This might be okay though if I can get it properly kind of put in the right place at the right time. So I'm gonna set this to put in a outdoor tray. I'll probably put it by the potting bench where it's not gonna get direct sun for the next day or two, because we're expecting some sunny days here, which is great, but not great to put this kind of stuff directly under the sun right out from the garage. I am only pulling out the cells today that it looks like they're a little bit dry. And so yeah, that's this one here. These cosmos are ready to get potted up. These calendula actually could go out. So what I'll do here is water, feed, and then I will add my calendula to that tray that I just took away of bok choy and lettuces and stuff that I was gonna out to harden off. The calendula can go ahead and go out too. And I'll throw these cosmos back under the lights until I'm ready to pot them up. I grabbed this one. It doesn't look like it necessarily. I think the potting mix is still nice and moist in there, so that's not an issue. But this is quinoa and it is calendula. I wish the quinoa was farther along or doing better than what this looks like, but in any case, the quinoa should be able to survive the outside at this stage. We're getting into late April now. So I'm going to give it a feed and then I'm going to set it aside to go outside. These are the French marigolds and I think they're looking nice. The cells are dry there, so they definitely need some watering. It's kind of debatable whether I should put these outside right now or not. So I think it's still a little bit cold. It's getting warmer, but we're still expecting like 40-degree nights. Marigolds tend to like the warmer weather, so I'm gonna keep them under the lights here for a little bit. So I definitely have the fungus gnats or the little now. There's no doubt. Earlier in the process, it wasn't obvious, but now it's completely obvious. They're flying around, but at this point, everything I have in there is germinated, so I'm not particularly worried about the effect of the fungus gnats. These are the Saploglosis and the petunias, and I'm just happy that I got some stuff that survived there, because if you go back a few videos, you'll see where I made the error of not keeping them properly moistened during germination, and so I didn't get the germination that I wanted. And I typically like to grow a lot of petunias, but when something like that happens, I think, well, it's just an opportunity to fill the garden with other things. We'll still get a good flush of petunia color here. Petunias definitely do like warmer weather, so, and certainly the Saploglosis is similar, so I'm gonna leave those under the lights for now. These are the asters. They're looking okay, but the fact that they're more like a chartreuse, that yellow-green versus just a kind of a deep green, is suggesting that I didn't feed them enough, which I remember that when I was fertilizing some seedlings, I forgot to do some trays as I was going, and so I don't know if these might have been them. So hopefully feed them today. That'll clear some of that up. Okay, I'm back and I've got some more. These are some smaller asters here and then some straw flowers. They're all looking good. Actually, their tray's pretty moist. But since I got them out here anyway, I'll just give them a little bit of water. So that'll mean I won't have to water them again for another day. And then I'll give them a little bit of a feed, hopefully. Well, I didn't think I was going to need to water the peppers, but they're all kind of looking a little bit like they need it, and their soil is kind of dried out. So I think that, yeah, these bigger plants are just really sucking up the water. These peppers here, by the way, filling you on some varieties. These are the Padron peppers. Are they all Padrons? That's the only label I have in there, so perhaps I do like Padrons, so maybe I did plant that many of them. These are the eggplants. They've got the kind of the weird damage to the leaves going on. I'll just peel some of the worst ones off. Yeah, back to talking about these eggplants. I'm pinching out a couple of flowers. I don't want them to flower or start producing anything right now in these 4-inch pots. I've been pinching off some of the leaves that have that look the most diseased in hopes that maybe new growth will come along and be fine. And I'm saying diseased, I don't actually know if that's what it is or if it's some kind of bug. I mean, I don't see any particular bugs on it, but who knows where they could be hiding. I'm not putting fertilizer in the peppers, the eggplants now, because when I potted up to the 4-inch pots, I added a slow release fertilizer, a time release fertilizer or a slow release fertilizer to the potting mix that I put them in. So I don't need to put an extra liquid fertilizer on it, or I shouldn't need to do that. Okay, let me go get another tray. What do we have here? We have the Jimmy Nardello peppers, the Anaheim peppers. Looks like just those two varieties there. Okay. So it's like some of the pots still seem moist, some of them seem dry, so I'll just water them all for now. And again, I'm not giving them a feed because they already have fertilizer in the potting mix, but I'm going to check for flowers. So right here, for example, I've got a flowers, multiple flowers kind of budding here. So I did this on peppers earlier under the lights. I went by and saw that some of them were starting to get ready to flower, so I pulled the buds off. So I'm just pulling these buds off because I don't want them to be flowering or trying to produce right now. I still want all of their energy and attention going into creating their root system, more stronger stem and root growth. I don't want to grow whoop, there's an actual flower right there. I don't want them to grow pepper right. It's not time for that yet. The only reason they think it might be is because they're sitting nice and cozy under those lights. If I put them outside, there's no way they would think it's right for them. No, you are not ready for this right now. Thai chili peppers here. I can kind of tell. These are not all Thai chili peppers though, there's no way. And yet I have no other tag. Ooh, so I don't know what some of these others are. But I would be shocked if I planted that many Thai chili peppers because I don't always get around to harvesting the Thai chili peppers. They produce lots of little peppers that are I think they're an attractive plant, but I don't have the patience to go and harvest all the little peppers for actually eating unless I'm doing something special. If I had a project to make a Thai chili sauce, then sure. There are some little flower buds coming. There's lots of those, but I'll take care of those right now. There's the one stevia that's carrying on. What else do we have? These are jalapenos maybe? Does this say shishitos? These are shishitos, and I don't know for sure. Again, my labeling here has been, but it's quite possible that I would have planted that many shishitos. I do like to grow lots of shishitos, like I like to grow lots of Padron peppers. Flower buds. Okay, I'm gonna give these guys some water. And that concludes our watering and seedling review here as we getting ready to enter the last week of April. So, That's where things stand as we move further into spring. The bok choy and the onions are in. There's always something satisfying about a harvest. The wall is coming along. The dry well is in. These are less glamorous parts of gardening. The infrastructure, the drainage, the things you put into place and then largely forget about. But they are what let everything else work, and I find there's a quiet satisfaction to doing them well. The seedlings, well, they're getting there. A garage full of small green things in April is just a garage full of possibility. If you've been following along, thank you. It genuinely means a lot. There's plenty more to come as the season opens up. A subscribe goes a long way if you stay with it. Thanks for gardening with me, and I'll see you in the next one.